eating lunch. We're So-and-So Farms, first generation row crop farm, Southeast Missouri. My friend Shane and I started this a few years ago. Rice, corn, soybeans. Anyway, today we are working on some new ground that we picked up. The person that farmed it before us didn't plant it. It was too wet to plant rice, so he planted it. So that lets us work it this summer and fall and have a head start on next year. So that's what we're doing today. We're over here checking our work from yesterday. This is actually one I did the day before yesterday when I didn't have the camera. This is some ground, and it's really foggy this morning, but this is some ground that we picked up for next year, but the farmer's not going to plant it this year, so we're going to start working on it. And you can kind of see the dark spots out here. There were some wet holes, so we drug the Kelly diamond harrow through it to air these things out, and then we're going to come back with the land plane, a big purdy land plane that we'll show you in a little bit, and we will drag dry dirt in them, level them up, and then let them sit for the year. Without pulling the Kelly, this never would have aired out. This actually had, you can see some vegetation left. That Kelly rips it up, but we scratched up some dirt to use. We pulled out the old vegetation and, you know, let this thing air out. That was the whole point of doing that. So we'll come back with the land plane, slick this field up, and time permitting, we may go ahead and run some beds for next year, but we may just land plane it and run a couple ditches and call it good for the year. This is just, you know, this field and the next field over the railroad tracks here that we're about to go to, about 100 acres. So that's 100 acres that you have ready to go. That's 100 less acres that you got to work. It's just that much further ahead you are, and every chance we get to do that, we're going to take it. So that's what Braxton and I are working on. The guys are watering beans today, watering rice. We're really getting towards the end of the season, and that's exciting because that means it's harvest time. That's everybody's favorite time. It is a stressful time, but it's the time where you got some money coming in and not so much going out. Let's jump across the tracks here. It's where the 8335 and the Kelly are sitting. A couple more holes on this side, but really glad with how this turned out. If you would have seen it before we started, it was really rough. This is a field that me and Braxton did yesterday. There's the 335 and the Kelly. I say we did it. Braxton actually did this one yesterday. There was a little more vegetation out in this field, so we're going to hit this one twice. We're going to go again this morning on it. I'm going to let it catch about an hour more air to dry. I'm really wishing the sun would have came out this morning, but you can see that vegetation, it's still there a little bit. So a second trip is really going to shape this up where we can get that land plane through it. If you leave too much grass and stuff in there, the land plane, the dirt won't slide very smooth through it. So we'll get her handled though. Back out here at this field. We did this one last night. We're going to come hit it again this morning. 8335 is dirty, but that's because we had to blow some mud holes out. Kind of walk back here and make sure we ain't got nothing going wrong. No flats, no bearings out, no big leaks, nothing too obvious. Everything looks pretty copacetic. Get things going here. Blow out some of these mud holes. And we worked the field at a different angle last night. We're going to switch up our angle today. Work it at a cross angle. wait for our GPS to do its calibrations and all that. Edit our A and B line here. So we just set our A. Actually, let's head this direction. What you do is you set your A and then drive the angle you want to be running at. And I'm going to put a pretty aggressive angle on this. Probably enough. Set our B. Turn our guidance on. And we're auto steering. Second trip across this, we'll finish cutting that vegetation up. Fluff it one more time. Give it a little more chance to air out. And a little more dirt to play with when we land plane. Get all this started. Braxton can finish it. We've got the Purdy land plane hooked up. 8335. This Purdy land plane is about 80 feet long, the frame, and then the tongue is about 10 feet long, so about 90 altogether. Got these big cutter blades. It will do a lot of cutting and filling. You can see it is an antique, but it still works like the day it was new. And the cables go to the front, and as the front axle steers, the cables turn the rear. Looks like we got a low tire. Need to put some air in this. But other than that, all good. That is a long ways away. But it's so long that if there are holes in between those two axles, they will be filled up. That's good. That's what we want. Cutting and dumping. You run over, say like this hole here, it's going to be pulling dirt and dump it as it goes, and even pack it in because it's pretty heavy. So I'm excited to run this over this field. It will do a lot of good for it. I'd like to run this over every one of my fields, but it's only about 16 foot wide, and you pulled about 5 miles an hour. So as you can imagine, it'll take about 8 hours to do this field. It's very, very time consuming. So we don't always get the time to run it over all the fields, but eventually that would be ideal. Got the big Purdy going. We're right now trimming this field up on the edge, coming out here and hitting any high spots or places where levee butts were, ditches, and just pulling that dirt away, putting it back out to the field, and then as we come through, we will incorporate it back into the lay of the land. We have made a few rounds in the actual field, fixing to pass that up, and I'll show you. It's kind of a slow going deal. We're running about 6 miles an hour right now along the ends. Don't want to go too fast, get this thing bouncing because it is heavy and it will jab holes into the dirt. So you can see here where we've land planed so far. A lot of cutting and filling. It's dried out now, but you can see little dark spots. That's where it made cuts. That's where we had high knobs. And it'll just drag that dirt along and fill the holes in, and that's it. Probably try to come back over here with the hipper chopper. I ordered some new blades for it and get this thing bedded up and ready for row rice next year. We'll be that much farther ahead. Pull in here with the sprayer and spray it, drill it, and be done. But you can definitely see the difference of where we've been and where we haven't. It's neat working here by the railroad track. Most of our field's back on the other side of the county where we started, out in the middle of nowhere. At least you get something to watch here. So yeah, we'll border this field and then jump back into it. We're still making right-hand turns. You can see here where the land plane has been making its cuts. The darker spots, that's the higher spots that it's cutting, and then the lighter spots are where it's dumping. Slow going process, but it doesn't pull the tractor real hard. We're running anywhere from 1200 to 1800 RPMs. Averaging probably 1500. Not a real hard pull for this tractor, 335 horse, but it's doing a really slick job. Got to keep making right hand turns because the land plane dumps its dirt on the left, so if you turn left it'll just leave a big old mound. Well, we've already trimmed the field up, went around the edges and pulled all the dirt out. We ran the right side of the land plane along the edge of the field, that way the dirt kicks out into the field, and then we can put it, incorporate it back out to the regular lay of the land. Just make big long sweeping turns. It is like I said, a slow process, but a very rewarding process. I mean, we're moving and dumping a lot of dirt. There are times when that back blade will be full, and then there's times where you can see daylight under it. That's just the difference in how these farms can get out of whack over the years. We're coming up on a hole here, and by the time that 80-foot land plane passes over it, well, you can see when we come up, it was all the way over there. We've already filled half of it. Excuse the dirty windows. But it's really fixing to load the tractor up because it's going to cut that high ridge off. No, didn't load it up too bad, but cutting and dumping. Pretty cool. I could fall asleep doing this job, but I'm not going to, but I could, but I won't. I'd like to, but I won't do it. hole has to be pretty big before it won't completely fix it. Has to be over 80 feet, because as long as that hole falls between that set of tires and that set of tires, that's 80 feet. If that hole is that big, those front tires are going to drag, it's going to dip down in there, grab dirt back here and drag it and fill that hole. I let Braxton take the tractor by himself. That's probably the first time he's ever taken the tractor completely by himself. He's going to do fine. I trust him. We've come to a stopping point. I've got a board meeting tonight for the board that I sit, and Braxton and I have got about 3/4 of this field done. He actually did most of it, which is going to be a huge asset if I can teach him how to run this tool. But yeah, so we're going to shut this thing down tonight, head over to our board meeting, and we're going to shut the video down. So we appreciate you guys. As always, please like, subscribe, share, hit the comments, and we're going to catch you on the next one.